Hi, I'm Rachel, and we'll be doing a 30-minute stretch class in this video. So find yourself a comfortable seat. It doesn't have to be cross-legged. It can be in any shape you'd like to be. If you'd like to be on your shins or in any other shape. If it's uncomfortable for you to sit on the ground, feel free to put a little blanket or towel underneath the hips and just lift them up a little bit. Sometimes that allows the knees to open up a little bit softer. And then find yourself a shape that you can be in that doesn't have a lot of sensation. So in the beginning of this practice, we try to take away external distractions. So maybe have very soft or no music. And if it's available for you and comfortable to close your eyes, feel free to do so. As we come onto our mat, we really try to leave the external world behind. And we start turning our effort and our thoughts and our sensations inward. So hands can be on the knees, palms can be face down or face up. And then we'll draw the belly in to support the spine and lift the crown of the head to over the tailbone. The shoulders can stay soft and away from the ears. The jaw is relaxed. And we'll just start to tune into our own breath. So without changing or manipulating in any way how the breath is coming in and out of the body, just feel it. The body breathes. I like to imagine I'm watching the bottom of an aquarium with maybe an anemone or a coral or something that gently sways in the water. So you might feel the chest rise and the belly come out a little on the inhale. And then you'll notice how everything surrenders down on the exhale. And then notice where your body is touching the earth. And see if you can feel the gravity pulling down those body parts into the earth. This helps us in a quick and efficient way to feel a little more grounded, just to notice where your body's touching the earth. And then we'll take a few moments just to feel the body breathe, keeping the shoulders soft. It would be normal for the mind to want to jump around. The more still we get, sometimes the more busy the mind gets, and that's normal. But just notice it, and when you feel it getting distracted, just bring the thoughts and the attention back to your breath. As we quiet the mind, the breath will quiet. And equally, as we quiet the breath, the mind will quiet. So we take these couple of moments in the beginning of practice to get still and quiet so that we can pay more attention to what's going on with the body, mind, and spirit. And maybe after a few moments of withdrawing distractions, of centering and focusing and grounding, you'll feel this sensation of peace and calm come over you. And from that place of peace and quiet is a nice place to make decisions for yourself from, when we're not busy, when we're not distracted, when the brain isn't trying to attend to so many things at a time. So take this opportunity to make the decision for yourself of what you need from this practice, whether it be flexibility or reduced stress, or maybe just to be away from the external world and be more mindful. Sometimes simply I just go with gratitude if I don't know what to go with, to be grateful that I have the opportunity to have this moment to myself, to care for myself. And then as I give you choices in this practice, I hope you won't pick the choice that the ego wants you to do, or that you see on public media or Instagram or on the cover of the yoga magazines, because I want you to pick the one that gets you closer to your intention. When you're ready, we'll bring the arms out to side body. The palms will be face forward. Keep the shoulders soft. Keep them away from the ears. wait for the inhale to start. When your inhale starts, we'll rise the arms up overhead. The shoulders stay low. The hands find themselves at the top. And at the exhale, we'll let the hands divide the head right down the middle of the forehead and nose and chin until the hands land at heart center. When the body wants more air, let the arms rise back up overhead. Take a big breath in. At the very peak of that inhale, the hands again come right down the middle of the head. The thumbs land at heart center on the exhale. Do that a few more times. Inhale, rises the arms up overhead. Exhale, the hands come down to heart center. Beautiful. We'll do that one more time. On the next inhale, the arms rise up overhead. And then we'll keep the arms up overhead, but rotate the chest and belly over towards the right. The left hand finds its way over towards the outside of the right knee. The right hand can find its way down to the mat or to the floor in the back. First thing I want you to think about is inhaling and lengthening the spine so that we're drawing the vertebra away from each other so that on the exhale it allows for more rotation. So the hips stay still, the shoulders stay soft and away from the ears. Each inhale gets us taller, and each exhale looks for more rotation. Beautiful. Let's do that one more inhale. Get a little bit taller through the spine. And exhale, if there's any more rotation, maybe it's just the chin that goes a little more over the shoulder. Very nice. On your next inhale, rise the arms back up overhead. The hands find themselves at the top. And exhale, hands down to heart center. Hands find their way down to the mat in front of you, and we'll take a gentle forward fold. This forward fold isn't to get as deep as you can down into the earth. It's not, can you get your forehead to the mat? It's how do your hips and your low back feel today? These beginning movements are an inventory of how the body feels today so that we know how to adjust as we go through our practice to give ourselves what we need. When you're ready, walk the hands over to the right corner of your mat. We'll be concentrating on keeping the left hip pushing down into the earth. So as the left hip grounds towards the earth, we'll reach the left hand away from its hip, opening the left side body. If you need more sensation, try a big inhale and puffing the ribs open. And maybe on the exhale, draw the shoulder back behind, away from the hand. The left shoulder draws behind as if we're pulling away from the left hand. Very nice. When you're ready, inhale the hands, walk back to center. And then let them walk back in. The crown of the head comes back up over the tailbone. And just take a nice breath. Beautiful. When you're ready, the arms will rise back up on the inhale. Exhale, we'll rotate the chest and belly over towards the left. Again, the right hand finds its way somewhere over to the right side. The left side of the body. The left hand finds its way down towards the earth. Very nice. Inhale starts looking for more length through the spine. So the crown of the head gets taller. So that on the exhale, we can rotate more through the spine. Good. Do that again. Inhale gets you taller if you can. Maybe it even puffs out the chest a little bit. Exhale looks for rotation. Let's do it one more time. Inhale lifts you taller if you can. Exhale, rotate maybe just the chin towards the shoulder. The next inhale rises the arms back up overhead. The hands find their way towards each other at the top. And then we exhale down to heart center. And then use your hands behind you for just a moment to uncross your legs and put the other one in front. Good. We'll find that easy sit again. The hands find their way back down onto the mat. And gently walk the hands forward, just taking note of how this side feels. It would be normal for your two sides to feel different. So we just take note of it. We don't judge it or criticize it. We're just noticing how the body feels. We'll take a nice inhale where you are. And on the exhale, we'll walk the hands over to the left side of the mat. Special attention that the right hip isn't peeling up off the mat. Beautiful. Nice opening through the right side of the body. Keep the right hip grounded. Reach the right fingers away. We'll take a big inhale. Expand the rib cage. Plant the right hand on the ground and see about maybe pulling the right shoulder away from the right hand, just to give a little more opening through the right side of the shoulder and the side body. Take one more inhale right where you are. Exhale, walks the hands back towards the center and draws them in towards the body, and we'll lift up the torso back over the hips. Beautiful. If it's comfortable for you to roll over your ankles and come into a tabletop shape, feel free to do that. If you need to move the legs out to the side, you're welcome to do that as well. Please feel free to adjust any shape that I offer you to put your body in if you know it doesn't work for you. Now, if that shape makes you uncomfortable, let's try it. But if it hurts, please don't do that. Yoga doesn't hurt. Spread the fingers wide like starfish and send the weight out into the fingertips of the hands. So the majority of the weight is not in the heel of the hand. The hands are under the shoulders and the knees are under the hips. And the next thing we start thinking about is to hold a peach between the chin and the chest to make the back of the neck long. Then we draw the crown of the head forward and we pull the tailbone backwards. Beautiful. If you'll push your hands and your shins into the earth and hold the belly in nice and tight to support the low back, you'll feel the stability of this shape. That stability that lives inside you already is why it feels like a table. On your next inhale, we'll draw the heart open and forward. Drawing it open and forward. And on the exhale, pull the belly in and up, tucking the chin and the tailbone into cat pose. On your inhale, when you're ready, draw the heart forward and open as if you're using the strength of your shoulders to pull your collarbones open. Exhale pushes the hands and the shins into the earth. The belly button pulls way in and up. The tailbone and the chin tuck under. Please feel free to do that the same way another couple times. Or if you'd rather move in a more organic way, maybe that would mean that you want to hold either the cow or the cat a few breaths in either shape, or shifting forward into either pose or backwards. Sometimes it's easier to tell what the body wants if the eyes are closed. Just moving. Sometimes it's nice to sway the hips or drop the shoulder towards the hip. We'll take one more cat-cow in any shape that would feel good for you. Very nice. When you're ready, we'll tuck the toes underneath in the back. We'll inhale and draw the heart forward, opening the collarbones. And on the exhale, we'll push into the hands and the feet and lift the hips up into a downward facing dog. Special attention into the wrists, into this nice long shape. The wrists get the least amount of weight in them. We'll send the weight out into the fingertips. And then think about having a long line from the fingertips all the way up to the tailbone, as if you're in a capital V shape, upside down. Then there's this long line that comes from the tailbone down towards the heels. Take a nice deep breath in, push the hands into the earth. Let the knees bend if they want to, that's okay. And then exhale, we'll drop both knees slowly back down onto the earth. And then we'll walk the hands forward, holding the hips where they are. So the hips stay over the knees, or maybe they come an inch behind the knees, walking the hands forward. If it's comfortable for you to lay the chest onto the earth, feel free to do so. If it would be better for you to have a block or a pillow under the chest for this puppy pose, please feel free to do that. Now, we're not trying to build tension in the neck, so we'll let the head rest on the ground. You can untuck the toes if that works for you. There should be a long stretch through the shoulders, maybe even through the belly. Plant the hands firmly down into the earth on your inhale, and on the exhale, just draw your tailbone back about 1/8 of an inch even, maybe less. Just lengthening from the fingers all the way out to the tailbone. We'll engage the belly nice and strong. On the next inhale, we'll start drawing the hands back to underneath the shoulders. Back into that tabletop shape. Beautiful. And now we'll go ahead and walk your hands forward. Lay all the way down on your bellies, please. When you're ready, we'll let the right hand reach back and bend the right foot up and see about grabbing the right foot. If the foot is too far away from you, feel free to grab a strap or a blanket or a towel of some sort. Sometimes I use a sock. And we'll draw the heel in towards the hip. If the knees came apart when you started to reach for those feet, that's okay, but we'll start drawing them back in together. If you don't have any sensation here on the front of your right thigh, then press the hip bones down in towards the earth and maybe consider lifting the kneecap up off of the ground just a little bit. You can keep that heel pulling in towards the hip, or maybe you'd like to push the foot into the right hand. It will lengthen the right arm and pull up into more of like a little half floor bow. We'll take one more breath right where we are. Exhale, releases that foot gently back down towards the earth. And we'll just reach the left hand back and find the left foot. The head and the neck can rest as soon as you are comfortable putting it down. We'll draw the left heel up and in towards the hip. Both hip bones stay on the earth. Option to lift that knee up off the ground, the left knee. Take a couple of breaths. Option to push that left foot into the left hand, into that half floor bow shape. Very nice. When you're ready, gently release the left foot, let it come back down to the ground, and we'll draw back up into that tabletop shape. So if it would feel good for you to take some hip circles here or to press up into a downward facing dog, just to get some length, that would be lovely. If there's any other shape that would feel good to you, feel free to take that. Very nice. When you're done, we'll find our way back into tabletop shape. We'll draw the right knee towards the right wrist. We'll slide the right heel over towards the left hip bone, drawing into a pigeon pose on the right side. The left leg will slide backwards long. If this pose doesn't work for you, feel free to try putting a bolster underneath the right hip. You're welcome to stay upright, as Jackie's doing, or you're welcome to start drawing the crown of the head long, walking forward into a laying down version of this pose. Samantha offers another option for people who this pose doesn't work for. As on the back, you can take this figure four in a supine pigeon pose. So in this pose, we're super concerned about the knee not having any pain in it. So if your knee's uncomfortable and you can breathe through that, that's okay. The pain is not okay. We're not doing yoga to hurt ourselves. We'll be in this shape about 2 more breaths. Very nice. On your next inhale, we'll all meet, except for Samantha, back into a tabletop shape. Samantha will take maybe a legs up the wall shape, or she'll let the feet find her way down to the earth and let the knees drop in. And then we'll all change sides when we're ready to the left knee coming forward to the left wrist. The left heel comes towards the right hip bone and the right leg starts sliding back. Again, don't be surprised if one side is a little different than the other. It's not the bad side. We're not talking bad to our hips. But maybe this side needs a little more support. Opening the left side of the hip, outside of the left hip. Super important muscle to open. I hope you'll do some form of this stretch every day. It's a super important stretch. Lots of different options. Very nice. We'll take 2 more breaths in this pose. When When you're ready to come out of this pose, slowly work your way back up into your box pose or your tabletop shape. Maybe a downward facing dog would feel nice. And then when you're ready, we'll work our way into a seated shape. The feet will come forward towards the front of the mat. If the hips are a little tight today, consider sitting on the edge of the blanket again. Otherwise, we'll extend both feet forward. And then we'll draw the knees in and up towards our chest. So draw the knees in as much as you need to until the chest and the belly sandwich together. And then we'll grab the feet by the big toes or by the outside of the little toes. If the feet are too far away, feel free to use a strap. If the feet are super close and you know your hamstrings are super open, feel free to grab a block, and we'll work with either one of those. When you're ready, keeping the belly and the thighs sandwiched together, we'll start scooching the heels forward or the hips backwards. So keeping the belly and the thighs connected helps us not to overstretch the back. It doesn't need to have the legs all the way straight. And then start thinking, not so much about dropping the forehead to the shin, but drawing the heart towards the ankles. Don't go anywhere that you can't breathe, as a general rule, on or off your mat. Find a spot that you get a little uncomfortable with, and then send your attention to the breath. I like to practice, my inhale is when I search for tension in my body, and the exhale, by very definition, is a release. Inhale is searching for the tension. Exhale is releasing it. We'll take one more breath right where you are. Beautiful Paschimottanasana. Nice and slow, we'll come up out of that shape. And then give the legs a little patting down onto the earth, or maybe a little shaking, windshield wiper. Very nice. Let's come to a comfortable sit. So most people aren't particularly comfortable with their legs sticking out in front of them like that. So any comfortable shape you like to be in. Then we'll take the right arm out to the side with the palm face up. The elbows in right next to the body. And then draw the elbow down so that you can feel the shoulder depress. And then reach with the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. And then gently lower the left ear towards the left shoulder to stretch the upper neck on the right side of the body. So we'll need to keep that right elbow drawing down. And then see if it feels better to draw the left ear towards the left shoulder, or maybe while you're tilted over there, we pull the right ear up towards the ceiling. We'll just take a breath or more here. Fingers are soft, we're not holding any tension in the fingers. Now keep that head tilted to the left like you're doing, but check to see if there's anything on your shoulder by drawing the gaze and the chin towards the left shoulder. I'm sorry, did I say on your chin? There should not be anything on your chin, but we're looking at the shoulder. Take a breath here. Keep the head tilted over towards the left, but let's send the gaze up to the ceiling to the right of your mat. So keep the head tilted to the left, but lift the gaze up. So now we're drawing the chin up and away, gazing that way. Take one more breath, in and out. When you're ready, the crown of the head comes back up towards the ceiling. We'll inhale, rise both arms up overhead. Exhale, hands down to heart center. When the thumbs touch the heart, it's a nice time to remember your intention. And then we'll gently change sides. So the left arm comes out to the side. We draw the elbow down to depress the shoulder. The crown of the head is reaching up, and we'll gently exhale the right ear towards the right shoulder. Stretching and opening the shoulders, because that's where we hold a lot of tension. So please don't go over there and start thinking, ooh, my neck is so tight, so tight, so tight, because we don't want to reinforce that. We want to allow it to open. So maybe it would be nice to stay right where you are, or maybe you'd like to try drawing the left ear more up towards the ceiling. Shoulders are soft. Keeping the head tilted towards the right, we'll just gently turn the gaze towards the right shoulder. The chin and the gaze come down. This stretches the back of the neck a little bit more. We'll just take a breath here. And then keep the head tilted to the right, but let's turn the gaze up towards the ceiling, off to the left of your mat. The left shoulder is still pulling down. A little more opening on the front side of the neck. Very nice. Take one more breath. Yeah, let's let the crown of the head come back up towards the ceiling. And then, as if I've asked you a question you don't know the answer to, we'll draw both shoulders up towards your ears and then let them abruptly drop down. And do that again. Inhale draws both shoulders up towards the ears, and then exhale lets them drop. Very nice. When you're ready, make your way turned all the way around to the back of your mat, and we'll lay down on our backs. And let's draw the knees in and up towards the chest. So give yourself a big hug. Use the strength of your arms to draw your knees in nice and tight. And then keep your hands on your knees and see about drawing the tailbone down towards the ground. That'll kind of flatten the low back to the earth. Sometimes that gives a little release in the low back. Very nice. We'll let the feet find their way back down to the earth. Open the feet out towards the edges of your mat. And then gently let your knees draw over towards the right side of your mat. So if this is enough sensation for you in a spinal twist, feel free to stay here. If you're thinking, or even if you're curious, if there's more range of motion in this twist for you, then you'll start stacking the hips more one on top of the other. The knees will also stack. So we'll end up more like in a, Jackie, would you mind demoing that for me? Yeah. So she can be here with the hips and knees stacked, or she can draw her hips back and keep them in line with her shoulders. So play around with which one feels uncomfortable, because that's the one we need. Unless you just need to take it easy today, and then take the one that feels the best. You don't have to commit to a shape. Once you get there, if it's not right for you, you're not supposed to commit to it. Shoulders are soft and heavy. The breath is even and steady. In this pose, we're not looking for any more sensation. In this pose, we're looking to release. You hear one more breath. Very nice. One knee at a time with the belly engaged to support the back. We'll draw the knees up towards the ceiling. You're welcome to take a legs up the wall pose, extend the feet up towards the ceiling, or maybe you'd like to go back into that knee hugging and towards the chest. An X pose is a nice place to go here. And then as you're ready, the feet find their way back down towards the earth, out towards the edges of the mat. And we'll take a nice big inhale, and on the exhale, allow the knees to lower over towards the left side of your mat. So we come in nice and slow, because while surprises are nice, it's not nice to have a surprise in the low back. Always mindful of the movement so that we can stop ourselves before we get in too far. And then we try and release from here without a lot of effort. Releasing the muscles in the back, in the belly, the glutes and the hips, the inner thighs. Sometimes try and work here. Relax all of that. And let your attention find its way back to the breath. We'll take 2 more breaths right where you are. Very nice. We'll engage the belly by drawing the belly button towards the spine. Let one knee up at a time come back up towards the center. And then feel free to take, again, both knees in, maybe a happy baby, allowing the knees to draw out towards the underarms and the feet up towards the ceiling, legs up the wall, an X pose. And then as you're ready, we'll work our way down into our resting pose. So Shavasana is corpse pose. If you need a prop or a pillow or a blanket or something underneath the knees to help relieve pressure in the low back, please feel free to take that. If you have something to cover the eyes, please feel free to do that. Traditionally, the arms are out by side body and the palms are face up because it allows the shoulders to be soft and rest towards the floor. The feet are ideally out towards the edges of the mat so that your hips can rest. We'll take a quick scan of the body from the toes through all of the body, up through the legs and the hips, the back, the chest, the arms, and the neck. Searching for tension on the inhale, releasing on the exhale. There are some circle-shaped muscles on your face, around your eyes and your mouth. Feel free to release them. The eyebrows are soft and resting. The forehead is soft. The scalp, the temples, the ears, all soft. Moving the tongue off with the roof of your mouth will let the jaw rest. It's time to rest. Feel free to take this Shavasana as long as you can. Know that the goal of this pose is not to be really, really still in the body. The goal of this pose is to be still in the body and the mind. Like we reboot our phone when it has a glitch.